America, and welcome to the Sports Podcast. That's right. This is the only sports comedy podcast being recorded in Los Angeles in this apartment at this time. I am Joel Anderson.
I'm Jordan Pomaville.
And joining us, as always, is the sports outsider, Phil Ranta.
Who are we going to pick? Phil Ranta.
So, Phil, did you catch any games this week?
I can honestly say that this week, I did not. No. I didn't catch any games.
Nothing ever changes.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Were they good games?
They're spectacular games.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Monday night was pretty exciting.
There was a couple that I'd like to forget, but yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that it went well.
I feel like you're putting very little effort into this podcast, Phil.
I'm putting a lot of effort into the podcast. I just don't put any effort into the research.
Yes,
There's
but
a content aspect to the podcast.
And
Right.
and you're supplying like zero.
No, I do the funny voices. I bring the weird sports. Come on, people in podcast land know me.
Yes, but
they
the-
love
The
me.
structured, in-depth analysis that people tune into the sports podcast for, you're bringing nothing.
Well, I disagree there. Going back to last week, Phil's prediction of the Ivy League conglomerate football team winning the BCS national title.
It came true, didn't it?
Well, no, I'm just saying that's some of the
okay.
best work we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome.
And admittedly, they have not yet played the BCS title game, so that could still happen.
Thank you.
Well, let's start off with the news of the week. And the big thing that we're going to start off with is the Tim Tebow update watch update.
Oh.
T-Bone.
It's Tebow. Tim Tebow, Denver Broncos quarterback, lost to the Detroit Lions 45-10.
Oh, I didn't catch that game. How did Tebow do?
Not his best day. Was sacked 7 times. He turned the ball over twice. A pick 6 and then a stripped fumble sack touchdown
Him
recovery.
being sacked is not necessarily his fault, though, right?
Correct. And the Denver offensive line is not that good.
Yeah. but
Don't blame T-Bone for that one.
But for a quarterback whose mobility is pretty much his major selling point, I think 7 sacks is a pretty sad state of affairs.
Last week, Joel went after Tim Tebow.
Did I say something about Tim Tebow
Well,
last
again,
week?
you said you didn't buy into it.
Mm-hmm. I think I did say
You did.
that.
I don't know if it was a Valiant prophecy, but it was a prophecy nonetheless.
Yeah. Didn't I say Tim Tebow couldn't pass the ball in the NFL?
You did. He was 18 for 39 for 172 yards.
Oh, I don't follow much football. Is that a good line, Jordan?
Well, it's not. You're being facetious now.
I am
but
being facetious. That's
I
a
think you
terrible
said
line.
something about how when he threw the ball, it looked like a dying drunk duck or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a drying, drunk, semi-retarded duck.
Yeah.
And that's how you get to 18 for 39 and 174 yards.
It was not his best game.
Not his best game.
However, Coach John Fox says he will start next week against the Oakland Raiders.
Coach John Fox, secret agent. That's a great name.
It is, and you'd have to see Coach John Fox though, because I feel like you'd be surprised. He's like the least secret agent-ish of all of the NFL coaches.
But he is a porn star, right? Johnny Fox.
I could see porn star ahead of that.
Yeah.
Boy, if you think about it, NFL coaches just not secret agent-y at all.
No.
It's professions where sometimes you go like, oh, that guy could be a secret agent. Not NFL coaches. They're all
more
very
like
like
secret candy stash kind of guys.
yeah.
Like their pillowcases are full of wrappers to hide their shame.
They're all like gruff, old school
Fatties.
Secret
Yeah,
sad
most of-
eaters.
Yeah.
See, some are not
Gruff,
fat,
old
yeah.
school, secret sad eaters.
The name of my emo band.
Tough as nails guys with eating disorders and body image issues. Mamma mia, another pizza news.
Pizza news.
Just kidding. It's Major League Baseball.
Oh, just a
Tony
piece of news.
LaRussa leads the Cardinals to a dramatic 7-game World Series victory, takes home the World Series title, and now, after, I think, 33 seasons as MLB manager, Tony LaRussa stepping down.
Wow. That's 3 teams? I want to say White Sox, right?
Yes, White Sox, Oakland Athletics.
Yep. And then the Cardinals?
Correct.
What's the career wins for Tony LaRue?
2,728 career wins to 2,365 career losses. He has 3 World Series titles. Let's see, how many total? 4-time Manager of the Year. And I think he had 9 postseason appearances with the Cardinals. He had 3 National League pennants.
Question.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you can win the World Series and not win Manager of the Year?
Yeah.
And if so, that's messed up.
Well,
Like, I feel like if you led your team to ultimate victory, that shows that you did a pretty darn good job managing.
first of all, Phil, it would make the Manager of the Year a pretty boring award.
Yeah, but it's
because
still an
you
award.
pretty much know who was going to win it every year.
Oh, so they change it up. They're like giving the Oscar to Marissa
Yeah.
Tomei every once in a while. You got to
Plus,
throw.
you know,
They
like,
also do the voting before the postseason begins.
Oh.
With all Major League awards, they're already decided
Yeah.
before the postseason.
Oh, that's smarter then. I can't complain.
yeah.
So that
Plus,
doesn't
like,
factor
you know, a few years ago, Joe Girardi wins the World Series with the Yankees, but, you know, he's got like a $200 million payroll and a bunch of really awesome players, whereas, like, I think that year, like, Jack McKeon took, I don't know if he won that year, but, like, took the Marlins with a payroll like literally a quarter of what the Yankees had and came pretty close to winning his division. It leaves the opportunity for you to say, hey, this guy did a better job managing because he did more with less talent.
Or showing
makes
improvement from year to year, taking a
Yeah.
team, you know, from worst to first.
There we go. That rhymes. So it must be good.
Does that? Oh my! I've heard that phrase so many times. This is the first time it's occurred to me that
You know,
it rhymes.
I think I heard it in a movie trailer. I'm not sure.
Bad News Bears. They're going from worst to first.
What a catchy phrase!
I know. Isn't that pretty great?
But yeah, I gotta say, Tony LaRue.
So
I don't know if anybody else calls him Tony LaRue, but
So.
I think it's got a real ring to it.
Nobody. He's third all time on wins, Joel.
Third all time. Ooh! Can Joel name the two people who are ahead of him?
I don't know. Can you?
time for
Connie
another
Mack?
Joel trivia. I almost said troll jivia.
Let's call it Troll Jivia.
Troll jivia.
Troll Drivia.
It's a
Who are the
dietary
number
supplement. Troll jivia.
I am gonna go with Connie Mack.
Yes.
And let's say Casey Stengel.
No, John McGraw.
Ooh, I never would have gotten John McGraw.
I love it when I go to Southern barbecues and they serve me some Connie Mack. It's good. Good Southern eating.
You just walk in and you're like, is one of the people who cooked tonight named Connie? No, I'm leaving.
Come here, sugar. I got some Connie Mack. That's what they say.
And that's just plain macaroni made by a woman named Connie.
My name's Connie.
Guess it could be a dude named Connie. It's
Connie
possible,
Mack.
but
Well, the manager was named Connie.
And
Let's-
he's
So
the
I guess
guy,
it's entirely possible. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, well, Jordan, who does that make the current active wins leader in as a manager in Major League Baseball?
I do not know who is the current active.
It is actually the Detroit Tigers manager Jim Leland.
Oh, wow.
Who is just a hair over 500 in his career, like 4 games over 500.
I was going to say, he is the quintessential baseball manager. I think
Yeah.
most managers are essentially average, and very few are slightly above average. And
I like that about baseball. I think the all-time leader in terms of winning percentage is like 560 something. Like that's what's for sure reassuring about baseball. If you win 5 more games than you lose, you had a pretty good season.
Huh.
Out of 162 games, Phil, if you're plus 5, it's like, yeah, pat in the back.
I would strive for more. They should make me a coach. I want to win them all.
Yes, and they do strive for more, Phil. But
I
that's,
would love to go out there and see my team never lose.
the nature of the sport is one of acceptance. I think that's the key. That you
That
sort of
sounds terrible.
well, no, it patience.
No,
It does. Well, when you sell it like that, baseball doesn't sound all that interesting.
no,
Joel.
it sounds
true.
like, well, it's about a 50-50 shot no matter. Good teams or bad teams, about 50-50. So you don't have to watch.
Baseball is like the Japanese rock garden of sports.
You make it sound like the coin flip of sports.
It kind of is, though. That it's all about being very zen and accepting and learning to sort of go with the flow of how things. I mean,
There is a lot of inherent failure in baseball.
Yes,
This is true.
and
Yeah.
you sort of have to accept that there will be failure and just sort of change your overall approach.
Yeah, their biggest failure, making an entertaining broadcast.
Heyo!
That's the biggest
Zing!
failure of baseball.
But I love Joe Buck.
I'm sorry.
Your sarcasm of the day is brought to you by. I don't like Joe Buck at all.
Oh, okay.
everybody
I
knows
didn't.
that.
I didn't.
I
know
actually
you
couldn't
raised
tell.
that.
You didn't sell that very well.
No, you didn't.
Well,
And you haven't complained about Joe Buck with the same frequency you complain about Brent Musburger.
that's true.
So I really didn't
I
know.
dislike Brent Mus. Actually, I think I dislike Joe Buck more than I dislike Brent.
My
Musburger.
favorite part of going to a Southern potluck is eating a Musburger. It's really true.
Sometimes
Some of my favorite.
you leave it in a little more and you get one of those Brent Musburgers.
Yeah, I got a burnt Musburger.
The NBA has canceled games through November 30th, and David Stern is now saying there is no chance of a full 82-game regular season.
Cancel the whole season. It's time. It's
Okay.
time, NBA.
All right. Well, that's
You just want
that's our NBA
Get
news.
rid of it. Get rid of it.
I gotta,
Cancel the season.
I agree with Phil in this one.
There's a real piece of NBA news, though.
What?
Other than the
Yes,
season being
there is.
canceled?
I've got a piece of news that I need to bring up to everybody.
What's that, Phil?
I did my research, so stop picking on me.
Okay.
There
So
is
what's your
a
sports
player named Kris Humphries, apparently.
Who the hell's Kris Humphries?
Kris Humphries married to America's sweetheart, Kim Kardashian. No more!
What?
Yes!
Didn't
After, 72 days? Is that it? 72 days.
Yeah, something
They
like that.
are
Just happened?
divorced.
are they? Is E gonna air a Kim Kardashian dream divorce special?
Oh, I sure hope so. That would be awesome. Like Kris and Kim's sham marriage, the 3-hour special. They probably will do something like that.
There could be like hours on the side, showing just billable hours in the corner, like billable hours 28. Cut to a little later. Billable hours 39.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know them personally, but they strike me as being pretty terrible people.
Well, they are now they're connected to the sports world because Chloe's married to Lamar Odom.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yep.
They were briefly then a 2 NBA star in-law family.
Yeah. And
Really rubbing it into all the families who
Yeah.
are just one NBA in-law family.
I have to say that this was clearly inevitable because I believe the national divorce rate is right around 50%.
Right.
I'd have to assume that the NBA divorce rate has got to exceed that by a lot.
much higher. I mean, they've
Yeah.
got to be on the road all the time,
So,
seeing America.
By marrying an NBA player, I'd have to assume that Kim Kardashian was just not playing the smart
Well,
odds.
those
you know?
are not the only sports connections that the Kardashians have. Little known fact: a jockey actually rode Khloe Kardashian to win the Kentucky Derby last year.
I knew that was her.
That was her. Yeah,
is
that was her.
wow, just wow.
What? It's sports news. I did the research. This is what you guys always dreamed of.
Thank you. No, that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you provided us with some sports content this week, Phil.
Yeah.
See if you can keep doing that.
Final piece of news, NFL news. Detroit Lion tackle Ndamukong Sue going
My
to be
favorite
meeting.
player.
Right. Yeah, he's a tough guy.
Love him. Great player.
So he's been getting flagged a lot.
Yes, he has.
And some people around the league have said he's playing dirty. Some people.
Not true.
Well, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And so he has requested a meeting with Roger Goodell, and he's received a meeting.
Hey, actually,
NFL
last time
commissioner.
I was at Southern Buffet too. One of my favorite items on the menu: Ndamukong Stew. Delicious. Ndamukong Stew. Hey, ladle me up some Ndamukong Stew, huh?
Wow. Just so it's
Ndamukong
food puns this
Stew.
week.
It's food puns. That's the theme of this month.
I noticed they're all Southern too. Is that?
Well, yeah, because usually at Southern places they serve things like stew and Connie Mac. And,
There's
and
a lot
Muss
of places
burgers
where they serve
and
stew.
Muss burgers.
Muss burgers.
Muss burgers, Connie Mac, and Ndamukong Stew.
That's a hell of a meal right there.
Eat them down.
Yeah, please send emails in with more sports name Southern food puns.
Oh, that's a
And
great
we will
one.
read
Sports,
them on-
sports, sports podcast at gmail.com. Send in your food puns for sports figures.
Oh, this is a terrible
No,
idea.
we'll
we
read
will
them
read
on
them
the air.
next- yeah, we
we'll
will
read them on the air. We're
air.
going to give you credit for it. You know what? For the best one, send your mailing address as well. I'll send you a prize if you want it.
Ooh.
I will send you a prize.
Oh, wow.
sounds
At
good.
least $5 of value. I'm doing this. I want to see some sports names.
Folks, and if you clear $2 of value, I'm going to be impressed.
Right. Oh, they will.
Well, actually, Jordan,
Yeah.
and we're quite lucky to have this. Being such a small podcast, I don't know how we got this, but we actually have a recording from Roger Goodell's office from the actual meeting that Ndamukong Sue had with
I have
Roger
actually
Goodell.
bugged every office of every single sports figure in America.
Holy crap.
I have audio. I just sit inside of my lair, which is inside of a volcano, and I just listen to people talk about sports all the time. I don't understand it.
I was going to say, I feel like you'd be
Yeah.
more useful on this podcast
Phil,
if this
I have to-
information's true.
No,
I have
bugged
to
all these-
retract my earlier statement about you putting in too little work in the podcast.
Oh, I end up deleting all the audio files 'cause I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Good
but
God.
I saved this one because I thought that you might want it.
You're trying to tell me that we had live audio from every commissioner's office for how long?
Oh, geez, I've been doing this since I was at least 4.
And it's been
So,
deleted?
what is it, 25 years now? Hey, happy 25-year anniversary of me bugging every major sports figure's office. Do I get a cake?
No, because you deleted it. All right, well, can we at least listen to this one?
Let's listen to this one.
All
yeah.
right, let's listen to this
be
one.
great.
All right.
Click.
Afternoon, Mr. Sue. I'd like to thank you for asking for this meeting. I'd like to iron this out just as much as you would. Just to start, though, can I get you anything to drink? Coffee? Water? Okay, I guess not. Well, that's okay. You know, you don't have to talk, I guess. You can just sit there staring at me. All right, well, I guess I'll go ahead and start then. You're clearly fairly upset about the fines that we've levied against you. However, you have to understand that the league is making a sincere effort to cut down on hits in the quarterback. That's our MO, and it's something that we are not willing to compromise on. Wow, that is a piercing glare that you've got there. Okay, well, you listen, I just finished negotiations with the NFL Players Association, and I gotta tell you, I'm just not gonna be intimidated by this sort of tactic. Has anyone ever told you you're bigger in person than you look like on TV? Wow, okay, well, look, I understand, okay? You're an aggressive player, and you play an aggressive game, but we just can't have these late hits, and we're gonna have to fine you. Okay, let's level. Yeah, we're putting a skirt in the quarterback. There, I said it. It's true. The QBs are how we sell this league. People like passing. They like scoring. So yeah, because it affects our bottom line, we have got to protect them, and we're fining you. Yeah, okay. Yes, I am completely uncompromising the integrity of our sport. I said it. Is that what you wanted? But we are making serious dough here. $9 billion. And it's all because of Tom Brady's beautiful hair follicles. We have an NFL player who's the sponsor for UGG boots. Do you realize that? Peyton Manning is going to star in his own sitcom where Tom Arnold is his wacky neighbor. The thing on Drew Brees' face has its own agent, for Christ's sake. So yeah, we're throwing you under the bus because you're less marketable than they are. We just can't afford to let you play real football anymore because one of these guys could get hurt. So there, is that what you wanted to hear? Oh God, please just say something. I can't take it. I can see my own death in your eyes. You're terrifying, and that's not even accounting for your incredible physique and size. I swear to God, I will jump out this window right now if you will please just stop staring at me.
And now it's time for another Weird Sport!
Halloween was yesterday, Phil.
It was. And in podcast land, it was like 5 days ago.
Right. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yesterday, what am I talking about? Today is November 4th.
Right, today's the future. But that being said, we've got another weird sport for you today.
All right.
All right, here's the weird sport for today. The Cooper's Hill Cheese Rolling and Wake.
I don't know.
Yep. It sounds like a lot of things.
Do they roll the cheese and then they roll the body?
Well, I'll tell you. The Cooper's Hill Cheese Rolling and Wake is an annual event held on the spring bank holiday at Cooper's Hill.
Where's Cooper's Hill? Don't say Wales. Don't say Wales.
It's near Gloucester in the Cotswold region of England. More weird sports from the UK.
Yeah, you know, for the English being so snooty about American football, they've got a whole bunch of stupid crap they spend their time doing.
Yeah,
I
imagine that Judi Dench grew up playing all these dumb sports, and then she's like, "No, I'm a proper woman."
Oh, Judi Dench can bog snorkel.
Oh,
we all know that.
Traditionally, it's performed by and for the people who live in the local village of Brockworth. So they want to keep it local. They don't want all of those big name cheese rollers and wakers.
You get the event journalist coming in just for the cheese roll.
Right.
Asking the same questions that the cheese roll insiders have had answers to since the start of the season.
Right. All the homeless people who are like, "Oh, can I eat the cheese instead of rolling it?" It's like, "No, get out.
Christ.
Get out. We're rolling the cheese."
Yeah.
But swing by for the wake.
I'm still really confused. What is
We're
this?
going to get to the wake, presumably here.
We're going to get to it. All right, I'm going to start.
I can kind of imagine the cheese roll. I'm just waiting to hear how the wake works in.
Right. I absolutely agree. First of all, this has been happening for at least 200 years.
Oh, my Holy
goodness.
crap.
At least it says. I didn't know cheese was 200 years old.
Take it back. It predates football.
Right. We could say that this is America's or England's real sport, like original sport, right?
Yeah, sure.
This is like, I guess we could say anything we want. I'm going to say it. This is England's oldest sport.
Actually, it's probably archery.
Whatever. The format of the sport, they go to the top of a hill, and then they get a big round thing of double Gloucester cheese.
That's good cheese, actually.
I don't think
I
I've
will
ever
go ahead
had
and
it.
say that. That's good cheese. I've had it. It's good cheese.
Well, this is the great part. This is what I was not expecting out of this. They roll the cheese, and then they run after it.
Oh, so they're in the cheese's wake.
Right. They are in the wake of the cheese roll.
So there's not a dead body involved.
That's what I was disappointed by, too.
'Cause it
I
was-
really thought that they were going to, like, somebody died, and they're like, well, we'll roll the cheese to commemorate them. And then at the bottom of the hill would just be their body, and then they
Yeah.
go,
Well, this sport is
at
making
least
sense
we
to
can
me.
comfort ourselves with some cheese.
Yeah, because you're gonna chase the cheese because it's really good cheese.
You're gonna eat the cheese.
You want to
still.
eat the cheese at the end here.
This is
like that
another.
it's
This
not
is
being
another.
wasteful.
This is a wonderful part of it. Whoever wins the race gets to the bottom of the hill first with their cheese. Wins the cheese.
Nice.
all of it, or
Like
just
a whole
win
wheel of
the
cheese?
They win the whole wheel. They win the entire thing of cheese.
And I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's good cheese, people.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
what type of cheese is it,
The
Joel?
double Gloucester cheese.
Yeah.
I think is it a cheddar?
I don't know. It's double.
I'm pretty sure I've had double Gloucester. Is it Gloucester or Gloucester?
I thought it was Gloucester.
I think it might be Gloucester.
I think it is
it's
too.
spelled like it might be Gloucester.
They do make sure to say that in theory the competitors are supposed to be aiming to catch the cheese, but they changed it in recent years to they roll the cheese, then whoever crossed the finish line. Because I'm sure that there was too many times where just nobody caught the cheese. Cheese rolls fast.
Roll
downhill.
catch.
Right. I can imagine it would be very difficult, and it says that the cheese can reach speeds of up to 70 miles an hour.
No.
That is
70
ridiculous.
miles an hour of cheese coming at you.
My car can't go 70 miles an hour when I go uphill anymore.
Right. This
Where
must
is
be
this
a
hill?
steep ass hill. I don't know. It's somewhere
That
in
is
Gloucester.
ridiculous.
What does the cheese look like that it's that aerodynamic?
I mean,
It's
it looks.
able
It
to,
sounds
like-
like it's spherical. So it just.
No, it's gonna be like a cheese wheel.
I
It's
was
gonna be
thinking like a
spherical,
wheel,
but-
not a cheese
Oh, it
ball.
might be. Yeah, it might be. I mean,
I'm imagining people taking their cheese home, fathers and sons working on their cheese together,
Right.
learning a little bit on trying to reduce the resistance by friction.
right. I can imagine that if it's going 70 miles an hour, that's got to be a big ass hunk of cheese.
It
Like huge. It's got to be ridiculous. And another great part, it's only 20 pounds to enter the competition.
is that the weight of the cheese wheel? or is
No,
that-
no,
oh.
because it's in metric over there.
Oh, right.
20 pounds is
Actually, I
in money.
believe over there it's stone.
Right. It's
It's about 10 stone of cheese
That's
there.
such a fake thing. That's so fake.
Yeah, stones can be all different sizes, but
Yeah.
still, if you're getting that big of a piece of cheese for 20 pounds, like that
I'm
could.
actually interested. Aren't they worried about the stones on the hill cutting the cheese? Is that a concern?
I imagine that would be terrible for the aerodynamics of the cheese.
I can imagine, yeah, that's got to be tough for
Maybe
it.
they sweep the hill first.
Right.
They
Or on a
must,
sunny
something.
day, I imagine that it would just become like melted cheese and just start smearing into the grass. I caught it.
So is
But
it the
didn't move.
same people? Like, are you rolling your own cheese? Because it seems like if you really wanted to do this right, the people doing the rolling should not be the same people as the people chasing.
Right. I don't know. I'm
That,
not sure.
from a competitive standpoint, if you want to get a good chase, it seems like you know, because if you're rolling it, you're not going to roll it in a way that's going to get you the. You're not
I
going to
think
shoot for that
I
max
think there's
velocity.
probably the person who rolls the cheese is probably like an umpire.
Or you could probably do like a boxcar derby where you pull a rope and all
Maybe.
the thing and all the cheeses
Maybe.
are just released.
It could be. It could be. But
That
I
would
know
make
I
more
know what you're
sense.
probably asking yourself right now. Hey Phil, there's all these spectators. The cheese is rolling 70 miles an hour. Do
dangerous.
people get hurt? Yes, they do.
Oh wow!
People do get hurt, and not only that, but in 2010, no management would sponsor the event because it was so dangerous. But so they were gonna, after 200-year-old sport was gonna get stopped by the man because nobody else wanted to do
No.
it. But people went anyways. Rolled their own cheese with no management.
God damn, they are the 99.
Yeah,
Wow,
they are.
that is the type of civic unity. Oh my god, you'd
Absolutely.
love to see that.
Brent Musburger probably would have called them cheese stormtroopers.
Right. That makes sense.
You know, one time I went to a Southern barbecue and I ate cheese storm brew for them.
Nailed it.
I'm sorry.
Perfect. They when they had the management want to shut it down, they started a Save the Cheese Roll campaign. The event was officially
Well, what small town hasn't had a save the cheese?
Right,
roll
of course,
campaign
of
at some
course.
point, and
They officially canceled the event. It was officially canceled There were no paramedics there as there usually are. Still, 500 people showed up.
Ha!
500 people showed up to a canceled event.
Now,
Their lives in danger.
Their lives in danger
Now,
by a heavy piece of cheese
does it
rolling at 70 miles
specify?
an hour.
Can I ask real quick, because is it spectators who were injured by rolling cheese, or was it people running pell-mell down a hill that's so steep that you can get cheese going 70 miles an hour and then tripping and falling?
The
Or
official
some
website?
sort
I've
of
raced down dunes in my day.
cheese person pile up.
Right. Or cardiac arrest from eating all that cheese. You got to assume that's dangerous too, right?
Absolutely.
Not
Yeah,
good
right
for
after
you.
running? Probably not a good idea.
I will give you the short answer. All of the above.
Wow.
Everybody's getting hurt by this event. It is way too steep for people to be running. The cheese
sounds
doesn't
that way.
stop quickly when it hits the bottom. It does run off course. People try to get in the way just for a joke, like, "Oh, the cheese is coming." Like, people are getting hurt
cheese is
left
coming.
and right.
The cheese, Grandmama, look at me dancing in the way of the cheese. It couldn't possibly. Oh goodness, goodness, Grandmama, me tunic is covered in blood as the cheese has struck me thusly.
2011 was another big year for the cheese rolling event, in that they tried to shut it down again. There was no management, and then the organizers started blaming the fact that management wouldn't come back on death threats that were sent to the people
threats?
who would not put on the cheese roll.
Was it sent by the cheese wheel?
It must have. Like, there were people who were so adamant about this. They were threatening to kill people.
Wow.
Don't take away our cheese rolling
So wait,
event.
they put the event back on because of death threats.
Well, no, they still there was a local council that met over it, and they kind of have a self-governing cheese wheel body now. So
The
there's
sport
nobody
is going to
covering
police
it.
itself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So nobody can get sued, pretty much.
Wow. This has been fast. I take it back. I gotta say, I said some shit about British sports before. I'm pulling for the cheese rolling event.
It is.
This
It's the
is a
hockey
solid
of
event.
the UK.
This
It
is
is.
well. I feel it's the ultimate pub sport. We've made
Yes.
fun of their previous pub bets that turn into sports like
Yes.
bog snorkeling.
Right.
But this actually seems like we were rolling a piece of
It's just weird
cheese.
as bog snorkeling may be a derogatory term for lesbian sexual acts.
Bam, nailed it. We're going to leave it at that. This was another Weird Sports! Weird Sport! Oh, goodness, the weirdness of the sport. Weird Sport.
All right, so this is exciting. We have our first big time guest on the podcast. Like a really
That's
big
exciting.
time
I
guest.
can't wait.
That's
Yeah.
really mean to Rick Paulus and Jacob Harper, if you ask me.
I was gonna say even bigger than Jacob Harper and Rick Paulus.
Wow. Who?
Kris Humphries,
Oh,
NBA
wow,
power
that's awesome.
forward.
We talked about him earlier.
We did.
In
Yeah.
headlines.
We did.
Someone from our headlines is now on our. Wow.
That's a big deal.
That is. This is a big get.
Yeah. Kris Kardashian
Hey.
himself.
Phil, could you just shut up here, because we're gonna ask him sports questions. We don't want you to ruin this. All right?
Fine. I'll just sit here and man the phone line.
Thank
you.
you.
You ready for me to push the
Yeah,
button to put him on?
I'd appreciate it.
All right,
yeah.
here's the button.
All right, please welcome NBA power forward Kris Humphries via the Tony Romo's guest hotline. Hello, Kris.
Oh, hey guys, whatever.
Wow. Is this really Kris Kardashian or Kris Humphries?
The New Jersey Net with a breakout season in which he averaged a double-double, in which he, me averaged a double-double in scoring and rebounding. Yes, and only the real Kris Humphries would know that.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. You're our first big time guest.
And that is an honor for me. It feels like getting drafted 14th overall by the Utah Jazz in 2004 all over again, which I did because I'm the real Kris Humphries.
Okay. So how are you holding up these days?
I'm not going to lie, I'm not good. The main person I have sex with just filed for divorce on my favorite holiday. I almost didn't get dressed up.
What'd you go as?
I went as a dinosaur.
What? A dinosaur?
It's a costume I still have from the 3 years I spent playing for the Toronto Raptors. Oh, of course, that was before I was traded to the Dallas Mavericks as part of a 4-team deal.
Yes. Thank you, Kris. That's very informative.
Well, that's something that the real Kris Humphries would know. So,
No, I'm sorry. Aside from the whole marriage thing, what have you been doing? What have you been up to?
you know, to be honest, not a lot. I've just been hanging out in Minnesota, where I was born and raised by my interracial parents, Mr. and Mrs. Humphries.
Okay, so have you been doing something to stay in shape and be ready for the moment the NBA season starts?
Well, you can probably tell that my voice is a little bit fatter.
No.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
Well, to be honest, I have put on some weight lately. I should probably start working out with my dad, William Mr. Humphries, a former University of Minnesota football player and the black half of my birthing equation.
So, Kris, it seems like you're a little worried about your identity. Are you worried that people are going to forget who you are just because you got divorced?
Well, I gotta be honest, I'm not worried because I'm going to be changing my middle name to Kardashian since I didn't want to change the last name. So I'm going to be Kris Kardashian, was once married to, still a good guy, Humphries.
Wow, that is very long.
Yeah,
little
well, I
wordy
thought it
for a
would.
name.
I gotta be honest. I thought it would be better for the reality show. I'm gonna have a reality show spin-off called "Keeping Up with the Kardashians' Motorcade." It's where I'm gonna be following around Kim Kardashian's motorcade and seeing if I could get that prenuptial agreement changed.
That sounds a little creepy, actually.
Well, to be honest, I have a lot of free time with the season being canceled, so I gotta be honest. It's going to be incredibly difficult to stay in shape unless I am stalking a woman.
And you said you've gained some weight. What have you been eating? What's
Mostly KFC snackers. I don't know if you've had the KFC snacker, but they have two different types of cheese. They have two slices of bacon, but it's the same kind of bacon. There's no difference between those. And it's all piled between two boneless fried chicken patties. The paper that's around the patties gets clear because of all the grease, and I just like to suck on the paper until it's got color again.
Wow, Kris, that sounds pretty grim.
Well, I gotta be honest, it's not, because when you have free time, I just want to live like a regular person, and the regular person in America is 30 to 80 pounds overweight. So I thought, hey, I better keep up with Americans, as well as the Kardashians.
Are you going to be able to move on after this whole wedding fiasco? I know you're changing the name. You've got a new dietary plan.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm not moving around very much. I just discovered, because I had to train so much, I just discovered a system called the Game Gear. The Game Gear has a game called Shinobi, the Last Ninja. And it's difficult. Once you get to level 5, it gets pretty difficult. So I've been playing a lot of that lately.
Well, Kris, is there anything you'd like to tell the podcast audience before we go?
Well, I gotta be honest with you. I'm handing out on my website coupons to KFC for the KFC snackers. You can get 2 KFC snackers for the price of 1.5 KFC snackers. So that's a pretty good deal. I gotta start tightening the belt without an NBA season. So if you're a bar or restaurant owner around the state, you're gonna need some economic relief, and that's what me and KFC have partnered to do.
Well, thank you, Kris Humphries.
I gotta be honest, it was a pleasure being here.
All right, and thanks for tuning in to the Sports
Podcast.
And before we go, we're going to leave you with some Valiant Prophecies.
Prophesize it, Jordan.
Valiantly.
Number 14, Kansas State, 7-1. At number 3, Oklahoma State, 7-1. Phil.
3 is a better number than 14.
Sounds like he picked Oklahoma State.
Yes.
Phil's Valiant prophecies are getting more sophisticated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, didn't I say last week that Kansas State couldn't possibly be that good?
Yes.
Sticking with that prediction, it's going to be OK State.
I also think 3 is a much better number than 4, Oklahoma State.
14. It's a much better number than 14.
I also think 3 is a much better number than 14.
Yeah.
We're going to keep that whole thing. I'm not going to cut that out. Same for me telling you that I'm not going to cut it out. That's staying in.
Everything we're saying right now, you are listening to right now.
Right.
It should be edited out.
Yeah.
Number 9, South Carolina, 7-1. At number 7, Arkansas, also 7-1. It's a good SEC game. A good SEC game, not a great SEC game.
I am going to go with South Carolina, because isn't that where Stephen Colbert's from?
It is.
It is.
There we go. I'll go with that one. Colbert Nation.
I like Cox.
What's your prediction, Joe?
that was my prediction, because South Carolina is the Gamecocks.
Oh, I thought you meant that you enjoy penises.
No, why would you think that, Phil?
Because you enjoy penises so much?
I enjoy my penis quite a bit, but other than that, I haven't...
I know, I've been meaning to ask you to put that away.
All right, I feel like I have compromised on item after item about the production of this podcast, and I have got to draw the line somewhere. I am not putting little Joel back in the barn.
That was the rider on your contract.
God
that you were allowed to
damn
keep that out the whole time.
I'm gonna go with I was thinking about Cox.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Arkansas. I don't think South Carolina is for real. I think Arkansas is better. And the big game of the week, and this is the one you should tune into, Phil. This is historical.
1 and 2, right?
1 and 2.
This could be one for the ages. This could be the best game since the 65 number 1, number 2 Michigan State Notre Dame matchup.
Right.
I'm not at all biased.
Right, yeah. It's going to be the greatest game since then. There haven't been 10 even better number 1 versus number 2 matches since then, Joel. Whatever.
Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm going to make you come up with that list. Not now, but
greatest
at some
games
point.
ever have winners, Joel.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Number 1, LSU 8-0. At number 2, Alabama 8-0.
I'm going to go with LSU because I have to support them after that hurricane.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
that's very
hard to argue with. I got LSU, couple of reasons. First, again, they played the tougher schedule to this point. And secondly, I believe my grandfather went to LSU. So,
wow.
Old Robin Anderson, yeah, this one's for you.
All right. I also think LSU. I think they're the real deal. Although you can't rule out at home, you can't rule out an Alabama victory. Last game, Baltimore Ravens 5-2 at Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 6-2.
This has got to be a real
Heinz
good game.
Field. What's going on, Phil?
Heinz Field, corporate sellouts. You know, I'm going to go with the Ravens. Whatever. Heinz Field.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to pick the Ravens because I really hate those giant ketchup conglomerates that are destroying our society.
We're the 99% that's
Yeah.
not part of a ketchup conglomerate.
Exactly.
That's right.
But the Ravens have not played particularly well the last couple of weeks. I got to say, I think the Steelers actually might win going away.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to go Ravens. I think they're going to come in psyched up.
Ooh.
Yeah. They got, what's his name? Ray Lewis. I like him.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Ray
Game
Lewis time. Oh.
No.
I was just guessing what his
That was a
catchphrase
good
was.
guess, Phil.
It was a
That
good
was a
guess.
good
I thought it was
guess.
good.
For someone who doesn't know, that was a
Yeah.
pretty good.
Thank you.
All right, but you can contact us. You can write us an email at sportspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and make sure to have your sports figure name puns. And if you want a prize, then make sure to include your address. I'll send you a prize if you're the best
Sports figure food name puns.
Food name pun. Yes,
Food
like
sports
the
figure
Muss burger.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
And don't even worry about including your address. No one's going to track you down and rape you or anything like that.
Right.
You just include your address.
However, also include your security code on your door.
Yeah.
If you
If you thought we were going to track you down and rape you before now, the fact that we've reassured you we're not going to on the podcast should be all that you need to know.
But speaking of contacting us inappropriately, Joel, we have a Twitter. What's the Twitter name?
Oh, we do. Sports 3 Podcast.
Yes.
At Sports 3 Podcast. That's the number 3.
And we also have a Facebook. Look up our group. It's Sports Podcast.
Thank you, America. Lights off.
For more funny stuff for your eyes and ears, go to comedypodcastnetwork.com.